With physical injuries, as far as my burns went, as far as the pain in my bones and skin went, a lot of times you can cover that up with different pain medications that are out there. But the mental trauma, that is so hard to overcome. And even after your physical injuries heal to a certain degree, those painful memories, they never ever leave you. I'll have those with me till the day that I die. I lost 3 buddies that day. Other firefighters were injured. Not only did my life change, but the lives of everybody around me, the lives of the people around me changed. When I look back and I think about what we could have done better that day, I think the first and foremost thing was training. But when it comes to the training of the individuals that you're sending out in harm's way, you cannot cut corners at all, or else disaster strikes. I was only on a handful of fires before the Twist River fire. That was my first year working as a wildland firefighter. I truly feel like my law enforcement training is what saved me that day. I'll tell fire crews that, and you can always kind of see their faces in shock, like, how does that even apply? Not so much the technique of how to use a Pulaski or how to apply water to a fire. Of course, all that's important, but really what's even sometimes potentially more important is how you're going to respond mentally to that situation. It's hard to say if, what could have changed the outcome of that day, but I do think if there was training put in place, that maybe the outcome would have been different. Every wildfire season seems to seemingly grow in intensity, and these fires are burning hotter and they're growing more rapidly, and there just seems to be more of them. Really what it comes down to is not only better training for our firefighters, but better resources, and that comes down to funding. At the end of the day, we need as much resources as possible to be able to fight these fires. When you think about wildfire, of course, there's a huge upfront cost, but the cost down the road can potentially be even far higher. There could be lives lost, there could be home loss. All of a sudden there's a lot of rehab work that has to be done. Having that funding up front is almost like an insurance policy in a lot of ways, that it can ensure that there isn't going to be even more disaster down the road. Sadly, it's extremely expensive to fight these things, but by paying for those costs up front can potentially save a lot more money down the road. Going forward, I want to see everything from our rookies up to our senior firefighters be able to receive top-notch training. I think about the guys that are out there on the line. All I can really do at this point, being that I can't fight fire anymore, is pray that their training is up to par and that they're comfortable doing what they're doing, and praying for their safety. I always knew that, or at least I always felt, that Western Washington was a place where I could come to escape fire season, because it's typically damp, and you really aren't going to see the fires here. But as we saw this year and in the couple years leading up to this year, Western Washington has changed. We now see a lot of fire here, and this season it was hard on me. The smoke brings back a lot of memories. Seeing the flames at night out my window, the eerie glow off in the distance, that stuff is really, really hard. It brings back a lot of hard memories. Having the proper funding in place is going to make sure that we can have all those resource orders that we need. When firefighters are calling in for a bucket drop or a retardant drop, they need to know that resource is actually going to be provided to them, because it can mean the difference of a home burning down and not, or it can also mean the difference of a crew being overtaken by a wildfire or not. Those resources are a must.